My voice is kind of messed up, but I'm here. This is gonna be my first finance video. I'm kind of excited, okay? Because I feel like a lot of people who watch this kind of stuff that want to know, I don't know, how should they hedge their finance portfolio or whatever, or not in this case. Today is just going to be like more of a risky expenditure. They can, they can look into this. But I think it's going to be cool, I like it. I hope you do too, The finance game, that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm Saucicles the Green, the E-Trade Heartthrob, right? So I'm going to play like the Spanish fleet. I'm going to make some kind of stupid intro for this kind of being like a dating game, I guess.
Okay, lady number 3. I've only been in this country 5 years, and there are some expressions I still don't understand. What does it mean, hanky-panky?
So anyway, I'm Saucicles the Green. We're going to be shooting a video on the Lilium. It's a electric VTOL, all electric. It goes 200 miles an hour, only has a range of 200 miles. It's got some other specs. We're going to jump into that stuff, but I called this presentation an Industry Reborn. VTOLs are the rebirth of the car industry. Lilium is the standard. It's going to be great, Everyone wanted their jetpack. That sucks, because your cheeks could be, they could fly off your face, in the future or something like that if you go too fast. Something ridiculous, too many G's. With VTOLs, you're in a nice, safe enclosure, and you get to go as fast as it can take you, way faster than your car, 200 miles an hour. I have 2 slides for each of these. But there's 2 kinds of investors, okay? I'm a defensive investor, but there's an offensive investor and a defensive investor. And offensive investor violates a lot of my investing principles, okay? He's not gonna hold on to stocks for that long, and he's got to have an E-Trade app, and he's got to check his portfolio every day, and he just really is into day trading and all that stuff. I'm more of a defensive investor. I'll mess around. I'll be a little bit more aggressive than the average defensive investor, I'd say, but I don't want to sit there and buy a lot of risky stuff, okay? I'm limited to like 30% of my portfolio. So if I have $1,000 to invest, 300 of it goes into stuff like this, okay? Things the offensive investor needs to know. They would be interested in the startup and all that stuff with this. So mass-produce the VTOL, supervise and refine new developments. So trying to get this VTOL down pack, get it to where you can, you can mass produce it and sell it for really cheap and get it out there, and everyone buys it and flies it around, and refine new developments, This is a big issue with some other guys that are innovative. They got sweet innovations, but they don't hammer them down. Not even at the last minute. They're still hammering down during the production cycle. You can see that example with if anyone remembers this crap, the old Xbox. Remember the Xbox 360, how it'd break down all the time, the red ring of death and all that garbage? It's because they didn't. It was their second station, and they didn't fully implement all the new stuff they were supposed to put in. And PlayStation, Sony, and Nintendo, they made a couple game stations before, So they knew what they were doing. They didn't have any crashes or whatever. It's an investment that'll require at least $6 million in liquid assets to pursue. If you want total control, if you get a group of investors, then you'll need less. You just need $3 million if you got 2 guys, or whatever, so on and so forth. Requires a managerial role. It's not something you can just sit back on. You gotta actually hang out with a dude and plan out where you're gonna build the plant and all that. Should not be done without other investors, because you gotta hedge against yourself, If you're a psychopath and you're willing to pursue this, your biggest weakness is you, okay? Like I said, you might have an awesome idea for the new VTOL, I want to put a Gatling gun under it or whatever and shoot, I don't know, paintballs at people or whatever. Or I want to make it like sealed so well that it's like medically sealed. I want the enclosure sealed so well that like just, if the air was poisoned, you wouldn't get poisoned, you know. I don't think, I think you need some buddies to hedge against that if you're crazy enough to invest in this, you know, so you all get steered to a more stable direction. Perhaps a cabinet of potential investors should be formed early on. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Okay, kiss your life goodbye for the next 10 to 20 years, okay? Because that's how long it takes to get the stuff up and running. You know, Ford wasn't overnight. It took him 10 or 20 years before he was pretty much the monopoly on the automobile industry, you know? And it's going to be the same thing with the VTOL, you know? Everyone's going to want one when it comes out and all that stuff, but not everyone's going to be able to afford it. And by the time it gets around and you can be able to afford it, like middle-class families can afford it, it's going to be 20 years, you know? You're gonna have to not only be really hands-on, but you're gonna have to hang on for 20 years, you know? Pay attention to bull slides, obviously, because you're a bullish investor. Defensive investor, preemptively prepare to support new emerging VTOL industry. So you're not really investing in Lilium. You can if you want to, whatever, but you don't have a hands-on role. You can also choose to invest in some stuff that's hedged for the VTOL industry, like the carbon canopies and all that stuff. I can't think of the fancy name, but basically the stuff that the plane's actually made of on the outside. You can invest in that industry. You know, that's an industry that it's not going to go out. You know, there's such a low production of carbon for all kinds of electronics and planes and all that, and there's such a high demand, you know, and it's just no one's ever going to stop asking for it. There's some companies to invest in for that, parachutes and some other stuff. An investment that will require at least $200,000 in hard assets, so you need like $200,000 in assets that it doesn't matter if you liquidate them, they're still $200,000, mostly bank accounts, you know, like it's a. So when you got a bunch of stock, you know, you got $6 billion in stock, you can sell it and get $6 billion back, but you gotta be really careful. You can't sell today. You gotta sell really slowly off, and if you sell it all today, then it decreases in value. That's just how the stock market works, you know. They've got examples of flash freezes all the time where people sell a lot of stocks all at once, and the stock moves down at a huge price, and then everyone freaks out because they think something big's coming, and then everyone sells out, and there ain't nothing left, you know. Like they have to shut down the market because everyone's freaking losing their mind. They're just trying to sell all their stock, you know. Pretty passive in management, like I said, hands off. Should not be done without movement from an offensive investor. So you're kind of waiting for the curve. You're waiting for some crazy guy to come in first, and then you do. No cabinet needed, maybe 2 advisors for how the transportation industry works versus how it will during the VTOL age. So like just kind of like people that like have a hypothetical situation of things that are going to change in the VTOL industry. Like for example, how are they going to regulate traffic? Are people going to have inductive charging so down packed that like there's no gas stations? They just got like these little panels that are in parking spots. Your plane lands, it shoots a little mechanical arm that touches the plate, and the plate's electrically charged, so that's how you get your charge all the time and all that stuff. Lots of stuff will change. Lots of hurry up and wait. And you should pay attention to the bear slides. Okay, so how does the Lilium fly? Lilium uses the wings on the vehicle to house a vast amount of rotors, at least 15 on the smallest model, you know, just total rotors throughout the whole thing, or just on the wings, not the whole thing. There's some front compartments we're going to talk about in a second. The rotors are thrusting towards the ground for takeoff, then rotate to the top of the wing to propel it and take it forward. So this is the wing, all right. and this is the array of propellers that's like in this miniature compartment thing, okay? And when it takes off, it's like straight up and down, okay? So that the propellers are facing this way. But then when it drives forward, the wing goes like this, and then the propellers are pushing it this way. That's how that works, okay? There are retractable front rotor compartments if things ever get hairy in the front and to make a landing and takeoff a breeze. So I have it circled on the presentation, and then it has like a little, kind of looks like a USB port, I guess, because the image is so small. That's actually like a little canister you can see in the upper image, and it goes inside the vehicle once it's in the air, once it's done with takeoff or whatever. It lets it be controlled and stuff. So the deal with the VTOL is it's a jet, you know, it's just like, okay? And then when you stop, or you don't want to stop, but you just want to have like more control, you want to be able to turn and move sideways and stuff, these little compartments, they come out and they help you land, and they help you like strafe and all that stuff. So it's a real deal VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing. Pretty cool. So the deal is the Lilium versus the E-Hang. If you don't know what the E-Hang is, basically it's just like a huge version of the drones that are out today, and it actually has 8 rotors, you know, but we pretty much count them as one. But it has like a rotor, it has 4 rotors like a regular drone, and then it's got a rotor on top and a rotor on bottom on each of those rotors, so there's 8 total. The Lilium has less necessary components, and then like that seems like, oh, I'm going to be talking about production now, this is a safety thing, okay? It's like the deal with it being safer is that, okay, so if you want to worry about all the stuff that's going to go down, or maybe you want to pack extra parts or whatever, you got stuff to maintain, you only got to worry about 6 parts going wrong, okay? The E-Hang has 8 parts that are necessary for it to stay in the air, you know. A lot of the rotors can get messed up in the Lilium before it goes down. The E-Hang, if 2 of the same rotor go down, that's it, man. The build time is pretty close. It's like 1 month versus 2 months. The initial cost is stable at $265K. They know that if they had a factory and all that stuff to build it with, it costs $265K per one, which is pretty nice compared to like Cessna's. Cessna's like, I think the cheapest new one costs $275K, so you're still cheaper than a regular brand new plane. Initial cost, sporadic with E-Hang, it ranges. Yeah, it's cheaper sometimes, $200K they say. It can go up to $300K they say also. I don't know. I just think they haven't done the homework on it. It might even be more with that kind of speculation. Operation and maintenance. Okay, so these are modularized rotors, all right? So they got like 15 or a lot of them, okay? A lot of them can fail before it needs to land, and it has like these kind of like AI, whatever, program that says, hey, a lot of your stuff's messed up, man, you gotta land, and it just takes you to a safe spot and lands. It doesn't let you get back up. But you got plug and play rotors, let's say, in there. You can just fix it, you know? You just pull one out, put one in, plug and play. The E-Hang, though, you need a mechanic to fix those rotors. The payload for the Lilium, so basically how much carrying capacity, is that 440 pounds. That's a lot. That could carry me. That's how much that is. The E-Hang only does 220 pounds, and that's a nice weight, but I haven't been that since like I was like, I think like friggin' 8th grade or something, I don't know. Range for the Lilium is 190 miles. That's 200 miles, you know. That's not that far, but for like a town car or something like that, something that moves around the city, something that would park and be able to recharge on the inductive panels and all that, that's pretty much forever. E-Hang is only 30 to 40 miles range, so it's very limited, you know. Like, to put it in perspective, like E-Hang is like 30 to 40 miles, maybe. That's still less than from here to a town nearby, I guess. So you couldn't even get to a nearby town on that. But the Lilium will be able to travel, they estimated, like from France to Paris, you know. It'll almost be able to like start flying to different countries pretty easily without having to be that close. Commandable, the Lilium is. the E-Hang is not. If you want to joyride, and I don't mean like steal one, I mean like if you want to joyride, you want to like do barrel flips or whatever, you can do that with a Lilium. With the E-Hang, you can't. You know, you can't have a lot of fun with it. Max speed is 186 miles an hour for the Lilium, so that means it can only be in the air for 1 hour, right? Now at lower speeds, it'll be able to stay up there for up to 4 hours. So like, I don't know what's the lowest speed it'll allow you to go, but like let's say it's 20 miles. Even though the range is at 190 miles, you'll still only be able to be in there for 4 hours, even though that you would only cover 80 miles, just because that's the time range that it has. But but it can at least do 4 hours. The E-Hang, it's 62 miles per hour, so not even an hour of flight time for an E-Hang. You know, passengers, you can have up to 2 passengers in the Lilium, and the E-Hang you can only have 1. Real lumber, you know, you can't take any dates out to go get some fast food or whatever you want to do. All right, so this is the bull slide. Maybe I should do a bill noise. I'm gonna go look it up real quick, okay, guys? Just hang out with me. Hey, bull nose is a construction term. Learned that to know, but not too terribly interesting. It's kind of like a corner or something for like tiling or something. I don't know. Would that be annoying? I kind of don't want my channel to turn into this, so I'm going to stop while I'm mad. Okay, so maybe it'll turn into it later. I don't know. We'll see. So this is the bull slide. VTOL 20-year plan. So you got like a 20-year parameter for what the cost of production for the VTOL is going to be, right? So we enter it, and it's a little bit less than what a brand new Cessna costs to buy. So it's 10K less than a brand new Cessna, right? This is kind of a conservative estimate, right? So like I develop an estimate and I kind of cut it in half. That's all I did, okay? I guess this would be the curve on an exponential decay, and it's going to flatten out after 20 years is what it looks like. But the deal is like, so the biggest thing, like I said, the biggest expense was carbon fiber. Basically, it's an airplane made out of diamonds, okay? There's no other way to put it. There's cheaper stuff to do it out there. There's aluminum, I think titanium's used in like flight stuff, fiberglass, you know? But it probably weighs more than carbon fiber, or something like that, okay? It's just probably not that great. It would be better to carbon fiber. Okay, it would be ideal to replace that with something else, or to find a cheaper way to invest, or a cheaper way to produce carbon fiber and all that stuff. But just like I said, as we go through the years, so that you, the offensive investor, the hotshot, the day trader, the tactical trader, I've seen them be called sometimes, whatever. You start out somewhere and you get all the way at the bottom, and you're at roughly 75K. That's pretty reasonable for a middle class family. Okay, and I'm not saying all of them. Okay, don't smoke me on this. I'm not made out of money. I wouldn't be able to afford it still at 75. If it was 25K, I'd still wouldn't be able to afford it. Okay, but middle class families, people with college degrees, nice jobs, managers, whatever, they can make enough money to buy this thing, right? And that's 20 years after the bullish investor. There's maybe a new model, maybe a cheaper method. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. The conservative model is wrong. Okay, and it could be wrong in a bad way, and it doesn't cut down that much. But again, I picked the conservative model because it's easy to exceed that. Okay, it'd be easier to exceed that and go down to maybe 50,000 here in 20 years if someone got the ball rolling. So that's what you're looking at. 20 years from now, $50,000 VTOL maybe. I estimated $75,000, but that's a conservative estimate. Yeah, so that's where that's at. This is the bear slide. This is the bear slide. I might just insert some famous scenes with like bulls, you know, maybe I'll insert that scene from The Revenant. Leonardo DiCaprio is being eaten alive by that freaking bull. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna look it up this time. I can give you noise though. I'm not looking forward to editing that and see me do that. But whatever. You are. You're probably loving it. Or you hate me and hope I die. Whatever. Today. Okay, so speculations of today versus the VTOL age for support industry. So vehicles need support to get around, you know, and you don't think about it. But you're driving on a road. You need that road. That's support. You need signs for it. That's support. You need gas station to gas up at. That's support. Park shop. That's support. Okay. So lots of support. Lots of support just to drive your freaking car around. Just to do everything besides driving. Most of driving is everything besides that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm right. Because, like, even you driving, it's even ebbed in you driving. When you change lanes, you gotta turn on the turning signal. Support. Uber, you know, that's a support system, etc. Today, stop and go lights, 2D traffic. Okay, so you stop and you go, and it's two-dimensional traffic. It's whatever it is today. Okay, the VTOL industry is gonna have man-rated traffic controllers. Okay, probably chatbots for chat rooms, except they're not for that. They're for traffic controlling. Okay, 3D traffic. Obviously, there's going to be lanes above and below your lane because it's a jet. It can go above and below your lane. Gas station. Today, you have a gas station. Tomorrow, inductive charging panels at parking lots at different places. Okay, it might not happen right away. Maybe it won't happen even 10 years after the VTOL catches on. But someone's going to wise up and be like, "Hey, I run a Walgreens. If I have inductive charging panels at my Walgreens, all these VTOL, what are those guys called? All these VTOL driving customers are going to come to my place, my restaurant or whatever, because they can charge up and they can do whatever, you know. And maybe they'll pay for it. Maybe they'll get the city to pay for it. I don't know. Maybe alternative fuel source will take off so much that we don't really charge people for electricity anymore, you know? Like, it still gets maintained, but it's more of like a government state in it. Today there's an emphasis on fiberglass with cars, okay? And tomorrow, maybe an emphasis on fiberglass, I don't know. But initially, we got carbon fiber, obviously, because that's what it's built out of. Options for fiberglass are cheaper and easier to mass-produce material, or just make carbon fiber more mass-producible, or something new gets invented, I don't know. Just something to make it cheaper, to make production, the main stitch of production cheaper. Just trying to think of another word besides the one I wanted to say. Maintenance requires oil, various lifetime on multiple parts, tires, etc. Okay. I'm not saying airplanes and jets and all that don't totally are free without oil, but I guarantee there's a lot more liquids and all kinds of stuff going on along a car. Whereas maintenance is focused on traffic controller software and rotors for the VTOL, you know, because a lot of stuff is just not. There's just less stuff to use, and that's it, you know. And the stuff that is used is different from tires and all that. Obviously, it's rotors and. Like I said, I see no reason, if you have a whole array of rotors, just make them modular. Just make them plug and play, you know? Seat belts are standard for safety. Don't see it going anywhere, even if you get an airplane. Airbags, I don't know anything about that. I think they'll still say or whatever. Parachute loaded ejection. So the Lilium has a parachute. I know it does. Has some other stuff going for it. I don't know if it would still use a parachute on all kinds of models, and I don't even know if it matters, you know. I wouldn't invest in that, okay? I'd invest in stuff like if there's a carbon fiber company, if there's someone that's making software for traffic stuff, or 3D traffic, or inductive charging at parking lots and all that stuff. I know they got companies like that you can invest in. Parachute production companies, that they're out there. Not worth investing in just for parachutes, okay? Because like even in flights today don't need parachutes. You ain't got a parachute under your chair, so why are you worried, you know? There's no need for parachutes. Weather conditions are mostly concerned with visibility and traction of tires. So that's the deal, okay? It's just how far you can see, or how much of what you can see, however far you can see. And then the second thing is traction. You know, when the weather gets bad, I don't drive faster than I can see. I stole that kind of philosophy from Big Trouble in Little China, but it makes
Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes.
Sense, you know, if you can't see it, there's no way you can respond to it. And if there's no way you can respond to it, you shouldn't be driving that fast, okay? So you should only drive as fast as you can see. But even then, you might not be able to react as quick as you think, or maybe you're just boned. Maybe you can't react because the ground's so slick. I stay, as a rule of thumb, not even in crappy weather. I mean, in crappy weather, you definitely should do this, but as a rule of thumb, just in general in life, especially if a semi-truck's around, I stay like 3 cars back from a guy, because if they stop or whatever abruptly, I don't have my nose right up their butt and I get beheaded by a semi-truck trailer. You know, I'm a distance away. I can peel off into the ditch, or I can come to a stop or whatever, you know. I don't mess around with that, you know. I don't sit there and say, hey, I'm gonna follow you really close, guy. But for the VTOL industry, weather conditions are worse, you know, because like there's so much more stuff going on in there. There's like this thing called winds loft, which is like the ceiling of a cloud. It's the parameters of a cloud. You gotta avoid it or whatever, or can you see through it or whatever, or how does that mess with the altitude you're able to fly at? Electronics become calibrated. It doesn't happen right off the bat, but if you get high enough up, they can become calibrated. And there's examples, like the Army did this a minute ago. They bombed some Doctors Without Borders guys in a hospital because their GPS got uncalibrated, and they thought the hospital was the target they were looking for, you know? The Army's even susceptible to this stuff, so why would you sit there and say, it's not really an issue for me, you know? Yeah, you'll probably not get close to that altitude, but we should be coming up with a standardized solution all the way around for everyone, you know? Even the common dudes will never get to that altitude. You should worry about that, you know? Because that's not how it works. It just happens that people are like, oh, I'm never going to fly at that altitude. One day they do end up flying to that altitude, and then their watch or their GPS or whatever gets uncalibrated, and then stuff like that happens, you know? So they shouldn't take it lightly, but yeah, invest in weather monitoring services if this starts catching on, this VTOL industry stuff. And as an aside, you could probably start a project with like a watch that keeps track of weather conditions, you know, that isn't susceptible to being messed up by altitude, and has a kind of like offline mode, because pilots are always offline. They're always losing Wi-Fi or cell signal. So if you can get it to where it like stores data over long periods of time and displays it, you know, like kind of gives a accurate prediction of what the weather is going to be like for the next week or something like that, is useful, then probably make you a rich man. So that's my deal with the Lilium. It's the new standard, you know. It's going to happen. It might not be the Lilium, you know, and it'll probably be some other manufacturer. And when it does happen, that'll be it, you know. But you can pursue it now, you know, and you can pursue it as an offensive investor. You can invest in Lilium, or you can try your own startup. And hopefully with this video, I provided a good enough argument for that. But if you don't want to put everything on the line, or you don't want to lose your mind or whatever, defensive investing. You know, if you invest in the carbon fiber industry, VTOL never pans out. I'm just blatantly wrong for some reason. People still need carbon fiber, okay? There's, like I said, there's all kinds of electronics and aerospace stuff that uses it. A lot of this stuff will still yield moderate yields. Even if the VTOL industry never takes off, and if it does, it'll enjoy some of the growth, some of the above average, the stock market. The stock markets are the stock exchanges, okay? The, like NASDAQ and the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones and all that, all of them put together, they average out to be like 7.54% growth over the last 100 years, even counting the Great Depression. So you might be able to beat it if you invest in some of those companies that have some pies that could be cooked in the aerospace / VTOL industry whenever it comes around. So I hope you all still do your own due diligence, still do your own research. If you operate off the information I gave, like I said, I put pretty defensive stuff out there, so you should all be safe if you do it. Unless you want to go build the Lilium yourself, then you're good luck, guy. Good luck for the next 20 years. Enjoy being single. That's it. This is your boy Sossocles, and I'm gonna have a video coming up. I'm so excited for it. So Humongous put up a challenge where there's no longer a point system. There's a time system. So you get like 10 minutes, or no, you get a minute for every 10 push-ups. Okay. And if some of you are paying attention, this means we can literally time travel right now. So I'm going to try, maybe next week, maybe the week after, I'm going to try to do 600 push-ups in 30 minutes. I'm probably going to fail. Because, just doing the math on that. 600 push-ups. That's 100 push-ups every 5 minutes, I think. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Oh, but you know what? If I do it, it'll be cool. If I don't, you know, if I still, whatever, you know what? You guys are gonna see it. It should be good. Oh, okay. And I wanted to bring this up. I'm working with the dudes from Task Force Pink, the task force we set up after Lagiacrus. I'm still looking for dudes. I still need a new American task force, okay? I am in a party filled with European people, and they're probably so tired of me messaging them on Skype at like freaking, what's 2 in the morning to them, trying to talk to them. I need American guys. And then also, I might be coming out with some footage from when I took my team down to a game. I bought a bunch of tickets and I took them all to a game, and it was like 3 of us. There were supposed to be 4, but there was only 3, and we all went, and like there's like a lot of people there. There was like 200 people. I might put that footage up. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll probably end up putting that footage up so you guys can see what that's like. I also have some other stuff I'm working on. I know what I'm working on right now. I know what I want to do. But I have this stuff to knock out first, and then I'll move on to that stuff. So just stay tuned and all that stuff, you know. I'm going to be trying to come out with a video every week. Once a week. I'm not going to pick a upload day yet because I just don't feel comfortable with it yet. I just feel like the deal is like I'm still new to YouTube. I'm still pretty much like a zygote. I'm a fetus to YouTube, you know? And I haven't put up like even 10 videos. So until then, maybe I'll make an upload schedule. And then even if I do make an upload schedule, this summer's going to end. School's going to start back up, and I might just say adios. School might be too hard for a minute. I might go back to uploading once a month like I was trying to this last semester or something like that. But whatever happens, happens, and I hope you liked all the videos and all the stuff that's coming up. And like I said, keep in contact on Habatica, hit me up, Fighters Guild, you know what's up. See you around.